Hello. In this tutorial, I have decided to record how to configure FlexVPN that works with Anyconnect version 4.10. The reason why I'm making this video is that I learned this VPN configuration in a hard way. So initially, I was trying to configure Cisco EasyVPN, but it never worked with Anyconnect software. Then I talked to Cisco Tech and realized that EasyVPN was retired. That means EasyVPN was using IKEv version 1, which is no longer supported by the Cisco AnyConnect software. So yeah, so I thought why not make a video out of it. So here I have a very simple setup. There will be one VPN user, a router, and a local network. So the loopback interface one is represented by is representing local network, which is /32 subnet mask, and the one interface is 10.9.99.86, which connects to a computer through gigabit 0/0 interface. So this is actually my home IP address, and VPN user will be getting, I think, will be on the same subnet. I'm guessing the IP address would be .41. If you browse to Cisco's website for FlexVPN configuration template, then you will find this, which is very good, really nice documentation. The only thing that I'll be doing differently is that here they're using a proper certificate from a obtained from a certificate authority. So I don't have that kind of luxury, so I'll be creating my own certificate. The certificate will get created on the router itself, so it's gonna be self-signed. So almost everything over here I'll be following except this part. So I know at many organizations they're not going to use a proper certificate from a certificate authority. Self-signed certificate works. It's just a little bit more insecure, but who cares? There are two softwares you are going to need. One is the profile editor. The profile editor is the profile editor is a software that creates a custom profile for Cisco AnyConnect, and you will also going to need um, AnyConnect software pre-deployment package from Cisco's website. So you have to create an account on Cisco, and then you should be able to download it. So I believe software version 4.10 is open to everybody, but version 5 and above are only restricted to the users who have purchased this VPN client from Cisco. So let's install the VPN core first. So after installation, this is the Anyconnect client. So there's not much that you can do with this software. I mean, you can click on this gear button, you can browse different options, but there's nothing that you can actually configure. Now we are going to install the profile editor. Typical is fine. different version. This is the actual interface of profile editor. So over here, we'll be just creating our server here. The server is going to our router. So let's create our server here. So I'm going to call it cisco.riashad.local. I can use this DNS name because I have already created a DNS entry, DNS PTR record on my DNS server pointing to this name to the IP address of 10.9.99.86. If you don't have a DNS server in your environment, then you can just use the IP address. Here we need to change it to IPsec, uncheck ASA gateway, and IK negotiation should be Anyconnect. Click OK, and then you need to save it. Documents is fine, so I'm going to call it AC VPN. Extension is XML. I already created before, so I'm just gonna overwrite it. And then I'll go back to the documentation. And here there's a file directory. Here. We need to browse there. And the profile that we created, ACVPN, I'm going to copy it and paste it over there. Continue. Now I'm going to start my Peanut lab. I have already taken a VIOS device, which is a Cisco router, and connected it with the cloud. That means my PC can communicate with this router. So I have installed the VPN client on this computer. So this bridging was necessary so that they can talk to each other. Let's boot it up. So here I have already created my script so that I don't have to type every command line by line because there are so many commands here. All the commands that you see here will be available on my website, which is riashad.com. Please go over there and you can have a take a look into the detailed configuration and the commands that I'm doing today on this router. So first, what I'm gonna configure is, I call it pre-configuration, that contains the host name, no IP domain lookup thing, interface configuration and line VDI configuration, and also username password. So I'm just gonna copy that and paste here. One more thing, line console 0, logging synchronous. Okay, so first thing you need to do is to enable HTTP server on this router. It is required so that it can act as a CA and also validate a client certificate. This command will turn R1 into a CA, Certificate Authority. To do no shutdown, asking for a password that will protect the CA certificate. Exit from here. Now we need to create a client certificate. To do that, we have to define a domain. You can use any domain you want. You can even use abcd.com, doesn't matter. Just use a website. Now create the trust point and enrollment URL. So here you can see the enrollment URL is the router's IP itself. You can see here, same IP. Now we have to accept the certificate, the client certificate. So from here, to accept it, of course we do. Finally, create the client certificate. It's gonna ask for the password. Verify the password. Do you want the serial number? I don't. Do you want the IP address on the subject name? No. Now he's asking, do you really want to create the certificate? Of course, yes. So if I do show crypto PKI certificate, you see the certificate has been created. And you can see the validity is valid for 3 years. It's by default. Now we have to create AAA. What AAA gonna do is that whenever a remote client is going to connect to this VPN server, it's gonna use this username and password. If you don't use AAA, then in that case you have to use Radius server. But I wanna keep it simple. Just use local username password. So we need AAA and login is going to be local. Over here you can see it's local. Now the basic part is done. Now we have to configure IKEv2 and IPsec configuration. Phase 1, Phase 2. So Phase 1, IKE version 2. We have to create authorization policy. Let's copy that. Here, what I'm saying is that the authorization policy is IKEv2 auth policy. The pool is AC pool. DNS is this, domain is this, and it can also send a route information to the client. So AC pool is really a DHCP kind of pool, if you want to say that, if you want to understand in that way. So whenever a VPN client gets connected, it will get an IP address from this range. Let's create the pool now. Now IPsec proposal. This part is a little bit tricky. Different version of Anyconnect uses little bit different type of proposal algorithms. For example, in the beginning, I was having hard time with phase 1. Then I did a debug on IPsec error and realized that the group that I was using 14 and 15 was not supported by the Anyconnect client. So group 19 is fine. So I'm using group 19 here. Make sure you use a group and encryption and integrity algorithm that is actually supported by your any client version. Version 5 could be something else, I don't know. Now we have to create the policy. policy says the proposal is going to be this guy. Finally, you have to create the IKEv2 profile. So everything that I've created above will get tied into this configuration. So any client, any connect client, this is the default. You have to just use it. And if all the configuration is done, you have to tie this profile to a virtual template. Virtual template is really an interface. I'm going to copy that. The reason why I'm creating this tutorial is that I've looked online when I was learning this configuration. I couldn't find a single blog or online tutorial that tells you everything, how to install the client, what to configure and what not. So I thought maybe my knowledge, my video can help someone else. Then why not create a video about it? So this is phase 2 of it, which is called IPsec. First, we have to create a transform set. I'm going to call it TS. Copy there and paste that. So anything that you see in capital, that means that's a name, that's a noun that I created. Now I have to create the IPsec profile that will get defined, that will define the transform set, the profile, then the I2, which is phase 1 profile. Copy and paste it here. So okay, so here lastly we have to create the virtual template. So we're gonna create the virtual template, which is the interface again, which is tied to loopback interface that we created at the beginning. As you can see, the loopback interface. So here's one command is missing. Here the type would be tunnel. I forgot that, but anyway, let's copy that. Sorry, I have to exit from here. Type is tunnel. That's right. And then I'm gonna copy it, just paste it here. Now you can see this is very important. That means IPsec is now on. So if I come here, show IP interface brief, here you can see this is my public interface. It got tied with virtual interface as well. This is my local LAN. So let's see if I can ping this guy from my computer. Ping 10.9.9.6. Yes, I can ping. It also has a DNS name. I configured that on my DNS server, which is cisco.riasha.local. As you can see, it's pingable and the same IP address is getting resolved. So now I'll open up my Anyconnect client. First, let's see if I can ping the local interface. Ping 192.168.1.1. As you can see, it's not reachable. Now let's do this. Cisco.riashad.local connect. Oops, what happened? Yeah, I just remembered something. So if I go back to Cisco documentation, it says we have to bypass downloader option here. So Anyconnect local policy XML. So we have to open this file as admin. So notepad, then as administrator. So I'm just copy this path, open all files, Anyconnect local policy XML, open that. Yeah. So whenever the reason is that whenever a client connects to a server, it tries to download the configuration file from the router. But over here we are using self-signed certificate, and we haven't transferred the we haven't transferred the certificate to the router. That's why we are trying to bypass downloading. It's gonna be true. Save that. Then we have to restart our any client. So I'm gonna quit and open again. Let's see if it works now. Why it's happening? Oh, I just figured the mistake that second mistake in this video that I made is that this SCVPN XML file is supposed to be going in the profile folder, not at the root folder. So I'm gonna paste it there. Now let's open the VPN client. I'm gonna try to connect. Maybe I need to restart client again. Let's see. I'm gonna quit. Most likely disable captic portal detection. We have to do that. Let's try it now. Yes. So I'm gonna document everything in my website, in the blog. So let's try it now. The password is FlexVPN password. Reassured FlexVPN password. Let's hope it works. So let's see. Show IPsec. So crypto ISA campus IKEv2 ISA. As you can see, my home computer was able to talk to this guy, was able to establish the connection. And I create a session. Yeah, the session is going on. So for the final test, I'm going to ping this IP. As you can see, it was not pingable previously. Now I can ping. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. So this is how you create easy VPN. So not sorry, not easy VPN, flex VPN. Easy VPN has been decommissioned. So thank you for watching. I hope it helped you. If it does, then wish you good